Good afternoon, folks. This is Fred Campos, and it is a beautiful Monday, December the 14th. And guess what? It's time for our 3 business tips in under 3 minutes at 3 o'clock. We're continuing our review of business books, and today's business book comes from one of my good buddies who's been coaching me from afar through his podcast. I've never technically met him. I've talked to him on the phone once. But entrepreneurs, you should be following and listening to Pat Flynn, Smart Passive Income. Fantastic podcast. I've been listening to it for years. It has truly helped my business. In one of those podcasts, he mentions a book by Ryan Levinsky called Ask. And this is a fabulous book, which we'll talk briefly about today. You've heard me mention, I believe it was in episode 8, about asking the right questions from the right people to get the right answers. Well, he also, too, is going to deal with the concept of asking. And his tagline, very similar, is ask the right questions the right time and the right way, and then you get the right answers. And so many times as entrepreneurs and business owners, we kind of take the Steve Jobs approach and say, you know what? People are just they don't know what they want until I show them what they want. And I get that, and that makes sense in certain industries. But a lot of the times we are providing products and services, and we really need that honest feedback from clients in order to get and build and serve them appropriately. And as you know, surveys are real interesting. If you don't do them correctly, you can ask leading questions, in which case you're going to get answers that are more geared towards the person asking them. In other words, you can manipulate the data, right? That's why it's so funny when you see these political polls do polling. Sometimes they ask questions that lead to the answers that they want to hear and not really the answers that are correct. So my 3 points for this book are, number one, you really got to know your audience. And he goes into great details about knowing your audience. I'm not going to spoil any of the book. This is a great book you should definitely check out. In order to know your audience, we need to, number 2, do a deep dive survey. This is a survey that it requires a little bit more thought, a little bit more planning. And if you ask no other question in that survey, that's point number 3, you should start your first question with, what are you struggling with? There'll be other questions you could ask on that survey, and there's a whole bunch of ways in the book about segmenting and doing surveys, but that's what you got to start with. So my 3 points today from this book are: know your audience, deep dive survey, which you should be doing to your base, and asking the first question, what do they struggle with? Great information. It's a fantastic book. Check it out. I want you guys to be successful. Here it is, really the week before Christmas. My kids only have 3 days left, and then they're off. So as always, be awesome. Go back to sleep.